I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
A little caterpillar is talking to a great caterpillar. After hearing the word butterfly, something inside her began to quiver. And she knew that it was something special. And the little caterpillar, whose name was Yellow, said, "Tell me, great one, what is a butterfly?" The great one says, "It is what you are meant to become. It flies with beautiful wings and joins earth to heaven. It drinks only the nectar from the flowers and carries the seeds of love from one flower to another." The yellow caterpillar says, "How can I believe that there is a butterfly in me when all I see is a fuzzy worm? How does one become a butterfly?" The great one says, "You must want to fly so much that you are willing to give up being a caterpillar." The yellow caterpillar says, "You mean I must die to being a caterpillar?" The great one says, "Yes and no. What looks like you will die is that you will still really live. Life is changed, not taken away. It isn't different from those who die without ever becoming butterflies." The yellow caterpillar says, "What if I decide to be a butterfly? What do I do?" "Ah," the great one says, "watch me. I am making a cocoon. It looks like I'm hiding, I know, but a cocoon is no escape. It is an in-between house where change takes place. It is a big step, since once you begin, you can never return to being a caterpillar. And during the change, it will seem to you and possibly anybody else that's watching that may be peeking at you that nothing is happening. But the butterfly is really becoming. It just takes time." This story comes from the book Hope for the Flowers by Trina Paulus. So there is within us the urge to become butterflies. There is this divine desire that we all have within us that is living to express itself as you. Have you ever felt it? It's a feeling that says, wow, I know I have potential. I can feel this desire to express myself fully in everything that I do. It's like it's calling my name. So you ask, how do you become a butterfly? Well, to really understand what a butterfly is, you have to realize that you already have the butterfly potential within you. Paul wrote, "Christ in you, your hope of glory." That Christ's presence isn't Jesus Christ. We're talking about Jesus did become Christed, but his name certainly was not Jesus Christ. So we're not talking about him when we use the term Christ. We're talking about that life principle, that truth principle, that potential, that butterfly that's within all of us, that I believe that we are here on this planet as spiritual beings, having a physical experience, desiring to be that presence in everything we do. We are all butterflies. we might be in different stages of metamorphosis. But we are all in various stages of awakening in consciousness. And you might even find, I know I do, that sometimes I reach it and sometimes I don't. The spectrum isn't always like this. Sometimes we can get there and sometimes not so much. True for you? So, many of us experience what I like to call caterpillar consciousness. That's when we're holding close to the ground. It's when we're holding on and wanting everything to stay the same, to be the same, to know that I'm relying on my five senses, and that's where my security lies. I'm relying on everything staying and being the same because that's where it feels safe. I'm hanging on close to the earth. When we are judging other people or thinking that we're better or worse than others, we're coming from we're coming from caterpillar consciousness. And yet, there is a moment for all of us when we get this feeling like this yellow butterfly had or yellow caterpillar had when it heard the word butterfly, right? I know for me, when I first heard the idea that the Christ presence was within me, something went, wow, it's almost like a tingling feeling. Anybody feel that? It's almost like wow, I know that's true. I like to think that is the divine revelation. When something within us begins to wake up, begins to realize that we can become butterfly-like in consciousness. And we can often recognize this when things are difficult, when things that we don't like are happening. I know for me, there was a time in my life when I got kind of frustrated and upset with my friends. Right? Early in my spiritual path, I found that I wasn't comfortable being around my friends anymore. Some of them, not all of them, because they just weren't there. They weren't on a spiritual path. They were oftentimes using negative words and being negative. And I found myself buying into that sometimes. And that's when I realized that there's something else going on in me. There's a level of uncomfortableness here that doesn't feel right to me. And I'm thinking, what is that? And it was this butterfly awareness starting to happen in me, where I wasn't happy with what was happening with others. I wasn't happy when I found myself judging others. I found myself looking in the mirror and wondering who I am. There came a time when I wasn't interested in conflict anymore. I didn't want to have to do things and experience challenges in my life with conflict. And this is the same thing. It's that butterfly consciousness coming to my attention, to your attention, to say, I don't want to do this way anymore. Sometimes it feels like we're at a dead end. I know I felt like I was at a dead end in what I was doing when I was in sales, and I felt like somehow it wasn't feeding me. It's like my spirit wanted more. I wanted to do something that was going to make a difference in the world. Anybody ever feel that way? It's like, you've been doing this thing for so long, and at one point it made you really happy, and then at another it's like, I don't get the same satisfaction out of this anymore. That's that butterfly consciousness knocking at the door of the caterpillar consciousness, saying there's something more for you. I want more meaning. I want to do something that's going to change the planet, that's going to make a difference in the world. It's almost like you get to a place where you say, I can't take it anymore. Yeah? I want to do something different. I want to make a difference. I want to go deeper. So how does a caterpillar become a butterfly? It's all about consciousness, really. And it begins with the simple thing. The process, I believe, is relatively simple, and it begins with gratitude. It begins by giving thanks for what you have. Even giving thanks for the difficult things that we're experiencing in our life. Sometimes we think we can just walk away from them and push them aside and not deal with them, and then what happens? They come right back, don't they? So until we can learn to love them and to deal with the things that are difficult in love, then we're going to continue to face the same challenges that we had before. Gratitude is the great magnifier, attractor in the universe. What we give thanks for transforms. We cannot receive our good unless we're grateful for what we have. To be really grateful. To pay attention to how all the ways that you are blessed, that I am blessed in my life. And to really be with that, spend time with that. Kind of like we began the service today, just to be in the moment and grateful for what we have. And in that process of being grateful, it opens us up to experience more to be grateful for. It really is the key to all prosperity, is to be grateful. And the second thing that we can do, the tool that we can use, is this statement of unity, our number one belief, which is there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. So to boil this all down, it means to recognize that the presence of God is everywhere. And until we believe and know that, if we act like there's a duality, that there's a good and a bad, then we cannot experience the fullness of God. If we're believing that something is happening to us is bad or evil, then we can't transcend it in a way that's beneficial to our spirit. Because in a sense, we're trying to push it away and say that you're wrong instead of embracing it. So to know that there is only one presence in the universe. There's only one power in the universe. There's only one essence, and that is good. We call it God. It could be spirit. It could be creative nature. It could be life. It could be love. But there's only God. There's only spirit. There's only good. Any thoughts about anything else separates us from the truth of who we are. As soon as we believe that something is evil, then we're not connected to the truth of who we are. So the second step is to recognize that there's only one presence in the universe. Empedocles was a Greek pre-Socratic philosopher, and he said, the nature of God is a circle of which the center is everywhere and the circumference is nowhere. I love that because human beings forever have been trying to define what God is and what God is not. But God is such a huge concept that it's really difficult for us to try and put it into words. But the truth of it is, God is the essence and the energy of life that is everywhere on the planet, everywhere in the universe, in every person, in everything. And if we want to have butterfly consciousness, if we want to experience our divine consciousness, if we want to experience divine love, then we need to know that this presence of God is everywhere. It's not limited. As soon as we try to define it or to limit it, it really only limits our ability to accept it. This quote comes from the Course in Miracles. Let me remember I am one with God. I remember the first time that I heard this phrase, that I am one with God. And I wasn't raised believing that. I was raised that believing that God was out here, up there, somewhere judging me. And when I heard this phrase, let me remember that I am one with God, this butterfly within me started to go, you know what? That's true. I knew in my beingness that statement was absolutely true. But then it was fun to notice also that my guilt and my fear kicked in and said, yeah, but if you believe that, then you might go to hell. Yeah, ever remember thinking things like that? Because that's how I was raised. I was raised in a fundamental Christian family that believed that God was separate from me, and there's no way that I am one with God. Of course, you have to remember what Jesus quoted from the book of Psalms? Did I not tell you that ye are gods? We have that same ability. We have that butterfly consciousness within us. Let me remember, I am one with God. Paul says it well in Galatians. He says, there is no longer Jew or Greek. There is no longer slave or free. There is no longer male or female. For you all are one in Christ Jesus. You are one in Christ. One in the embodiment of the Christ presence. One in the Christ nature. And the fourth idea that we can use to bring forth this butterfly consciousness is to remember that we are all one. We are all one. We all have this essence of truth, this essence of spirit within us. We are one with the presence of God. We are infinite expressions of the one. We are one with the one. If we can remember this when the guy on the highway cuts us off, or when somebody says or does something that hurts us, that's the time that we get to remember that we're one with this person. And the way that we embody and embrace this Christ consciousness, this spiritual essence, this butterfly consciousness, is to transform the thoughts that we have when that happens and to realize, I'm one with this person. I can love this person. Even though I believe and perceive that this person hurt me, I get to love them and release those error thoughts and beliefs. That's how we become one with our butterfly nature. It's by letting go thoughts of separation and fear and doubt and judgment. I am one. We are one. We are one. Do you believe that? Say that with me. We are one. Can you feel that? Look around the room and say, let's remind each other of that. And to say, we are one. Together. We are one. We are one. We are one with that presence. Doesn't that feel great? Doesn't it? Imagine when all of us on this island on this planet can believe that we are all one. I really am holding that that's a direction that we're heading in. It might take a week or two for us to get there, but I really believe that's where we're heading. That is the truth, that more and more paths of spirituality are teaching that we are one. You know, if we're going to create love in our world, we are the ones. If you're going to create love in your life, in your world, in your relationship, in your friendships, you are the one. And that's the next piece. Gandhi said, you must be the change that you want to see in the world. If you want to see peace in the world, then you get to be peace. If you want to see love in the world, then you get to be love. We get to love. You are the one. If there's going to be a change in the world, you are the one. Because that butterfly consciousness, that Christ consciousness, is the essence and the truth of who you are. You are the one. Everything that Spirit is, you are. Everything that God is, you are. You have the ability to forgive. You have the ability to love. You have the ability to live your life in truth. You have the ability to live with compassion. You have the ability to be at peace, to create peace in your relationships. In the challenging times when you might be confronted with a situation that is difficult, you get to be peace. You get to remember that you are the one. And bring that remembrance and that truth into that moment. If God is to be expressed in the world, you are the one. If joy is to be expressed in the world, you are the one. If there is to be light in the world, you are the one. You are one with the infinite. The infinite is expressing itself as you, in everything you think, say, and do. So take a breath. I am one with the infinite. The infinite expresses as me in everything I think, say, and do. Let's say it together. I am one with the infinite. The infinite expresses as me in everything I think, say, and do. And I invite you to close your eyes. In a world filled with sweet scents and blue sky, lives the gentle, uplifting butterfly, whose metamorphosis has this truth to teach. Our aspirations are within our reach. For this fluttering flyer of soaring worth was at one time a creature that crawled on the earth. When she climbed to a plant and learned of the sky, she looked down at the earth and wondered why her destiny was to live on the land. Something inside her she did not understand. The sky is my home, every part of her felt. How could crawling be the lot I've been dealt? Keeping those thoughts safe where they could be found, she slowly descended back to the ground. When she found the right place on which to rest, she brilliantly wove a cocoon for her nest. Inside the chrysalis, she went to sleep, tucked in with those thoughts she wanted to keep. One sunny day, the cocoon came unsealed. Magically, a butterfly was revealed. Seeing this miracle with my own eyes of caterpillars becoming butterflies, bring real hope of the possibility of total transformation of me. Like the caterpillar that crawls the earth, we are destined for a divine rebirth. Breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing into this moment. As you gaze within, perhaps you can become aware of the butterfly within you. And you ask, what is it that is within me that wants to be known? What is a truth for me that desires to be shown, to come forth? In what places in my life can I spread my wings? Where can I fly? Where my heart will sing. And let's take a moment to be in the silence. Breathing in and breathing out. Holding on to this butterfly dream. I invite you to begin to bring your awareness back to this moment. And to give thanks and to open your eyes whenever you're ready.
Where I live